All right, so I'm going to do a little overview of what I'm calling the long boxes concept. It's a horrible name, but it suffices for now, and it's very accurate to its description. The reason I call them long boxes is because they are deeper. They have a deeper profile than most bookshelves and room dividers that I've found. Most I found were in the 12-inch range. These are 16 inches deep, mainly for two reasons. One, I was concerned about stability front and back, so I didn't want them to topple over, if you bumped it or anything like that. And I also wanted to access books from both sides, so this does happen to be deep enough for for just about all paperbacks and most hardbacks to be placed on viewable on each side, so that you can have access to them, which I really like. And I think that works out well currently. So other issues I had were the sway side to side. As you can see with these are really good. They're very sturdy. They seem like a solid unit, and they don't have a lot of like skewing of the box shape. With the earlier prototypes I did, and so when one of the guys at the hardware store mentioned this thing called a rabbit joint in woodworking, that helped out a lot, especially when I was actually able to do it correctly. So I think that helps out a lot in the structure. Given that I had some material problems when I got these, when I got the wood for the beta, they only had half inch plywood board instead of 5/8 inch, which is what I was using before. I actually like the half inch better. As you can see, it's pretty light. I mean, it's just two boxes, but the fact that there's like no strain trying to pick them up at all is really nice. And I did really want to be able to move them and have anybody move them by themselves. So the side to side or the horizontal position here is mainly to demonstrate how the stacks would connect when you have, like, if you were to have, I mean, works fine by itself, but if you were to have like three boxes on the top and four boxes on the top here, how they would connect and be sort of sturdy in this configuration, which I shows a lot of promise. I'm intrigued to see how it turns out with the next ones that I make. And actually to build a larger piece of furniture here. And it's an interesting thing that turned out. So I initially designed for the single peg in the side of the boxes, and that was just to provide stability for multiple towers to be secure. It actually works out much better than what I intended for the vertical stacking. So in and of itself, I have these pegs right here, which four of them, because I wanted to be really sturdy. I was going overboard there, and I thought that if I didn't have all these pegs, that it wouldn't be very secure as a unit. And as I found with the single peg, that is just not the case. The single peg actually works out really, really well. And one, it's a little bit easier. I don't have to worry so much about placements, because if they're a little bit it's a lot easier to place it in direct center of the board than it is at having multiple pegs in multiple locations in the side. So I think that works out really well. There's also a really interesting side effect, is that it also adds this pivoting action for the bookshelf. I have seen this actually in other designs, like $400 and $500 bookshelves that you can buy, where they have like offset openings here, but they're usually just a solid unit. They're built and secured as a solid unit. So to have this functionality in a modular unit, I really, really, really like. And because you can obviously use the same materials for a end table, side table thing. Or a very interesting sort of bookshelf for lots of different display options. So I'm really, really excited about that. Some other things with the box. I was always really frustrated about carrying around furniture, mainly moving, but anywhere really. But the edges being really sharp and just generally uncomfortable to carry. So I made the edges rounded. which also makes it look nice, I feel, with the stain. But in general, yes, it makes it a lot easier to carry. You don't really notice the fact that you're, holding a box. It's just not like no edge or anything like that. And so since you're moving them around a lot, I felt like that would really help, and I do really like that. And it's on all sides. And also, since I know about the single peg adjustment now, I plan on using that for on each board, on each side, which I feel will help a lot with the overall design and also make it easier to build, which I'm really excited about. So I do plan on using just the single peg aspect going forward. And and the stain itself I'm really happy with as well. I think it was like an antique walnut or something like that, glossy finish. It's not super high gloss, like a, sort of really, really smooth or anything. I'm sure if I did a few more coats and had sanded it better, it probably would be, but I like it as is. I think that it's a good color. It's what I was looking for. It does, have a nice finish to it, and generally looks pretty snazzy. So in the final designs, like if I ever, have better equipment and stuff like that, I would ideally like to not have these screw holes. So I would just make it purely glued together, which is definitely, I've heard actually is a really good way to do it. But given my limited resources at the moment, and that this is a beta prototype, the screws will suffice for now. I can always get covers, I guess, for them as well. But yeah, so that's the long boxes concept. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to be able to build more of them, because this is only 2, just to show the functionality. But I will be making quite a few more to build a full bookshelf. But given how modular it is, and that I wanted to provide more visual interest with the bookshelf, and as I'm finding more, functionality as well, I think it's going to work out really well. I'm really excited. So, the Coursera course that I'm building this for is ending this week. So this is the final project for it's the beta version, but it's the final project for the course. So I will be obviously posting updates as I build more and sort of go forward on my own. But as far as the course goes, this is it. So anybody who's following along for the course, I'm glad you like it, or I hope you like it. And feel free to follow or subscribe, and you can get updates on the future design. So thanks very much, and have a good one.